Hey, what's up everybody? Here is the first tutorial for creating an ice ring in Cinema 4D. Got R21 open, just got a basic scene here. I'm using Octane, but you can use, I think you can use physical or any other third-party renderer. Alright, got a floor plane here, it's just for reference. Let's start with a torus. Bring this up a little bit, hold shift to snap. Let's give it some more segments. I think 100 and 100 is a good place to start. Make it a little bit thinner. I'm going to hit C to make it editable, but let's do a backup copy right here. Alt G to put it in a null. Hit backup. I'll hide this. And then the torus we'll call a ring. And now we can hit C to make it editable. We'll hit polygons over here, select all, Control A, then hit select, set vertex weight. Leave the default settings, hit OK. And the simple thing is that it's going to create a map around this entire shape. So now it's all off. And we can use this map to create effects and distortions and texture effects in a whole manner of ways using this map. So go back here. And so we got this ring, and we're going to go to Vertex Map tag, click on Use Fields. This is new to R20, I believe, R21. So let's click that. And the first default set here is going to be freeze, and the mode is going to be set to none. So if you click play, nothing's going to happen. What we want to do, and there are a lot of things you can do here, but the first thing we're going to do just to make this effect is to hit grow. And this is going to create kind of a growth map. Again, if you go back and hit play, you're not going to see anything because you need a trigger. Let's hit a trigger with a fall off over here. These are all our different fall offs. Let's just use a spherical, simple fall off here. And you'll see immediately that the map lights up. And that means anything within the spherical fall off is being turned on this map. Nothing is really happening to the ring just yet. Just this map is being turned on. So spherical fall off, larger and smaller, move it around. All right, and what it's going to do is anywhere this starts, this freeze modifier is going to continue growing. So let's hit play now, and you can see that now the grow modifier is actually working. So depending on where we put this, we can really see it by shrinking the timeline a little bit. It'll play over and over, and you'll see wherever we start this spherical fall off, this is where it's going to start growing from. So move it over here, move it over here. For the ring sim, we're just going to start it from right here in the inset. So it's going to start from inside the ring on one side and grow all the way around. You'll notice that it's a bit fast, so in order to make it slower, we can go to the freeze modifier over here and reduce it to 5. Just reduce it down until the point where it stops. So at 3 centimeters as the growth, essentially it'll stop kind of growing over here. So at 4, it should traverse that and go through. 5 is just a little bit faster. See the whole timeline over here. All right, the second thing we can do is add a delay effector on top of this and add a springy modifier to make it a little bit smoother and have some ripples to it. And immediately you see that delay effector has added some nice, soft, satisfying movement to the growth pattern. You see the slight delay in that. So essentially red is going to yellow or white and turning on, and everything that's a little bit red is slightly on, turning on fully. And so now you can add effects and displacement to this turned on and off effect. This is the first part of the tutorial. Of course, you can play around with this infinitely onto any type of shape, and it should work. Remember, you have to create a vertex map first for that shape, so they have to be editable. All right, so we're going to use this in order to create that ice ring effect. All right, first things first, first we want to get some displacement happening on this ring using this vertex map. So we'll go to the to displacement deformer. We're going to hold shift because the ring is selected and displacement is going to drop underneath the ring. First, you're not going to see anything. We're going to go to shading. We're going to add a noise, C4D noise, and I'll show you the one that I used for this particular effect, but you can use any one you want really. Let's go in here, change the seed value because the default values are never cool. Let's scroll through a few noises. You can see what's going on here. Really, it's sharp because of the amount of polygons this torus had initially. So if you had more polygons, the smoother it would be. I can show you that if you click US, it'll double the number of polygons and make it smoother. But right now, for tutorial's sake, just showing it at a lower res. We can always add a smooth subdivision surface to make it smoother. We can also add other types of things. But first, let's hold this displacement accountable. So this displacer has a noise displacement. So let's change this. I think I was using a larger scale here. So if you change the scale to about 4,000, and I want to say it was something like Muchos, Naki. I think Luca is always kind of nice. So you'll see our map from before is still growing, but our ring is solidly displaced now. So in order to make the vertex map affect the displacer, basically just show the displacer, I'll go to fall off and drag this vertex map right into the fall off, and there you go. Very simple. A lot of preamble to get to here. And you see it's taken on the effect of what we had earlier, which is the spherical field, so we can start it anywhere we want. Oops. I was actually not selecting that. Let's grab the spherical field, put it over here. You can see it even deforms just where the spherical field is. If we want, we could make this even smaller and start it here. There you go. Make sure it's recording. It's recording. Sweet. So let's get back to where we had it initially. Right here we have this cool noise growth coming from the displacement deformer. And what we can do here is we can change the noise pattern a little bit, modify it till we really like it. We can also change the height of the displacement by pushing in or out. What I did is I probably did this negative value because it pushes out and creates these nice ripples over here. You can smooth them, of course, like I said, but really this gives a little bit of that ice shelf feeling and growing outwards. So really this is the basic effect. It's a very simple rig. You can put it in a sub D like I said, but it's really using this vertex map correctly. If you want to just riff on it, we could just remove this delay for a second and add a random effector. This will make it a little bit more uneven. You'll see that the random effector needs to be blended. Use overlay here. And all of a sudden you get a cooler kind of effect. Let's grab that delay, put it back on top. That's even cooler than what I had. Alright, if you want to smooth it, you can definitely go back, grab this, hit US to double the number of polygons, and that will be a smoother edge, but it will definitely take longer to calculate. But that's very nice. Alright, next up I'm going to show you how to texture and very simply light this scene, but mostly texture to show how we use a mix material in Octane to create a simple glossy material from here and go into this kind of ripply ice material over here. Alright, let's do this last part of the tutorial. We got this nice expanding growth pattern using a vertex map, and we're going to take this into Octane. If you don't have Octane, you can use any third-party renderer or the physical renderer just using a Vertex map. But I'm going to show you the Octane workflow here. So pull up the little window. Let's make it real small just because, let's see. All right, so you can see just a white shader right here. Let's take this Octane mix material and apply it to the ring, and then going to change this to gradient on the V. Very simple light setup for now. Going to set up a diffuse for the floor. Okay, for the Octane mix, we're going to make two materials. We got the glossy and the specular right here. These are basically just default materials, glossy and spec, and then we have a mix. So let's take this mix over here that we have applied, and in the mix material we're going to add a glossy layer, and then we're going to add, a specular layer. And you'll see that it's a mix right now. It's a fall off between the two. So what we're really trying to do is basically use the Vertex map that we have over here for this area to be defined by one material on the mix and the red to be defined by another. So an opaque material to a transparent or translucent material. So in order to do that, in this area where it says mix materials, we're going to go to amount, drop down, and then in MoGraph, actually in effects, we're going to hit Vertex map. And click Vertex map, grab this Vertex map we have already set, drag it in here, and that's really it. The rest is tweaking, so let's increase the size here a little bit. I'm kind of trying to approach what I had earlier. So glossy, turn this to a bit of a purplish, nice hue. We'll make the background diffuse, kind of similar to that. Make it a bit larger. All right, so we've got most of that going. Let's see what that looks like. Nice. Okay, so what we really want to do is start off with only blue and turn just to glass. So in order to do that, we're going to, first I want to hide this delay effector for a moment just to make sure. Then I'm going to turn on path tracing so we can see the glass material. Turn this down to an acceptable number of samples. Expand this area just a little bit. Zoom out so we can see it a little bit better. There we go. So we're nearly there. Let's flip these textures. This is the main thing, but you can just click invert over here. And there we go. So now it starts on the blue material and uses the Vertex map to create the glassy material. Honestly, this even looks better than what I had on my post. What we can also do to get rid of these grainy edges, like I said, is to turn on the sub D surface. And it takes a little bit longer to calculate, but there we got smoother definition on that edge. It's not 100% perfect, but really in motion with some nice motion blur, you will not really see it. The other way we could do it is to hide that. We could add a smoothing deformer at the bottom of the stack, and that will make it a bunch smoother. We can change the stiffness values. I've not perfected this yet, but you can increase the iterations. Let that play. It does smooth it out a little much because I kind of liked some of the jaggies. Alright, that's pushing it all the way. Yeah, that edge is pretty smooth now. Probably reduce the strength a little bit. We can even put an Octane tag, hit subdivision, add one subdivision layer here in render. For lighting, let's just quickly set up a couple of lights and create a null object for the lighting. Light target. You can see light target is basically pointed at this torus. And then create targeted area light, and the target, we can drop in the light target. And you'll see it's blocking our view here, but let's move this around to the side. Go a little closer, shrink it a bit more. And with this light, we're going to change it, the distribution to an Octane fall off. This will allow us to control how much light is coming from the light. And yeah. It's a technique I recently learned, so I'm just figuring out the best way to use it. It definitely creates a nice, softer expression of the light. So now we have the left light. Let's expand it a little bit. Move it away. All right, let's light the second side here. This one could be a little bit shorter, actually. Closer. And then let's put an area light on top. That'll give us our nice even lighting. Reduce that value a bit. And we still have our Octane gradient, creating a nice even light. So what's even better is also fixing the texture a little bit. So let's add a little bit of roughness to the flat color. Is one way. So we've made the texture a little bit rougher. There we go. We have opaque turning to glass or ice. And we're to make it a little bit icier even, we could do something like take the specular material and give this kind of an icy bump map, maybe. There we go. That pops a bit better. All right, let this render a little bit. You can see it nice and shiny. If you let it play through, it'll just peel this off. And this is just really one implementation of using this Vertex map. It can be used for a whole lot of other things as well. So what's nice about this whole thing is that besides the initial object, the flow is procedural, so you can change the displacement to a different type of noise. And you can just make it a more simple object. You can put Voronoi and really have some fun with it. You can also have particles emit from this map, and I'll show something like that in the next tutorial. All right, thanks everybody.